What's up, everybody? It's Polish Pete, and I'm back with another rod bend and no hat. I forgot one today, but I got my Omnia sweatshirt on anyway. This is a customer request rod bend here. Not only was it a common comment we got a couple times in the comments on our rod bend videos, but it also was a request that our CSRs received to do a rod bend on rods that were over 7.3 with some backbone, so they could be fished multiple techniques other than just like the really lightweight, like hair jig style rods that we talk about a lot when you think of rods over that kind of length. And we're going to start it off with the St. Croix Victory. This is a 710 medium moderate fast. I own this rod. This isn't my particular rod. It's at home, but it was I actually got a couple of these 710s myself. The two of them, the medium light and the medium, are two of the more impressive long rods I own as spinning rods. They are, my opinion, Great Lakes, big open water. This one's in fact called the open water rod. This is the medium version here. Some of the nicest rods I've ever fished with for big open water places like Lake of the Woods, even Mille Lacs, places like that. I don't usually have these in my boat. They're actually usually in my garage, and when I know it's time to go on a trip to Sturgeon Bay or Mille Lacs or anywhere I'm going where there's going to be some big water smallmouth fishing, that's usually when I grab these rods and I put reels on them, put them in the boat. This one came in at 3.7 ounces. It's because of the foregrip on it and the way that this rod does not feel like a 710. It really doesn't. This rod feels great. I know a lot of people are fans of these rods in the Victory series. If you want a long rod for fishing open water that's versatile, this would be the one I would suggest. I will tell you this, it doesn't feel moderate fast with just the line on it. It feels fast. But that's why we have the line wall, right? We're going to go bend the 710 Victory open water rod. This is a medium moderate fast. All right, we're back with a rod bend here on that 710 Victory medium moderate fast. And we're going to bend, oh, and yeah, that's why you put it on the wall, right? I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably one of the most drastic examples of bending it not on the wall. I thought this thing was not extra fast, but it was certainly fast action. We were just bending it, pulling on the line in your hand. This thing is absolutely moderate. When I pull back on it with line out and hooked to something, it wants to bend, you know, it wants to start bending like halfway down. It's got a little tip to it for maybe action on your bait, which if you look at that, that's actually pretty cool. So if I was fishing something like a tube or a micro football jig or I don't know, some sort of drop shot, a big open water drop shot, I could absolutely shake it in place out there and get some action in the bait. But if I hook a fish or I pull back on this thing, I've got moderate action. So what that's going to aid me in is when I've got a ton of line out there and I'm drifting across a big flat on the Great Lakes or something like that, and you hook a crazy psycho smallmouth that runs up 25 foot off the bottom and leaps out of the water 5 feet, that moderate action is going to help you. And the other thing it's going to help you with a lot is allowing you to be versatile with your leader choices. If you're running braid to a leader, which I think most of you would do with this rod, I would suggest doing that anyway, so you can still get a little nose stretch and sensitivity way out there as you're dragging stuff. But I could run a 6-pound leader and I don't have to be so scared that I'm overpowering my fishing line with my rod. Even though this is a medium power, I could be gentle fighting that fish. I could fight him a little bit slower and get him to the boat without the risk of horsing him and losing him. You know, or if you did want to horse him, that moderate action is going to help you as well in your landing percentage. I own this rod, so I'm a little biased on this one. I will tell you, if you're looking for a rod to reach out far away from the boat and get some bottom contact way out there, that's where I really think this thing shines. I really like this rod. All right, next up we have Cody Myers' Daiwa Tatula AGS. This is his 7.4 medium fast. So this rod was Cody Myers' kind of do-all rod. I know Cody personally. I've fished this rod a whole bunch, and yes, it's exactly what it is. He designed this rod to have the power and versatility to fish for largemouth, but it's got the length and the ability with the action of the rod to fish a little lighter line if you're smallmouth fishing or spotted bass fishing in open water as well. So it's kind of a do-all rod. I think we just witnessed him qualify for the elites. I believe it was Lake Martin there in Alabama, and he was fishing with this rod for those little spotted bass they were fishing for. So this thing isn't going to overpower a finesse bite, but it is powerful enough that you can still largemouth fish around grass with it offshore, which is what I like about it a lot. AGS, so it does have those carbon fiber guides. I've got Kip's Luvius on here, so it does feel really, really light right now. It did come in at 3.8 ounces. I will say wholeheartedly, once again, aided by that foregrip. I can't stress that enough to any of you that are not familiar with fishing with a foregrip on your rod. It doesn't feel heavy at all, or it feels lighter than that. And that's because most of the weight I'm feeling is behind my hand here, as you can tell, right? I'm sort of cheating it a little bit. But these rods are, anybody who knows, the AGS rods are super light and they feel really alive. So love the way on the newer models they don't paint the tops of the blanks. I think it does aid in that transfer of the bite through those guides and everything. These are really sweet rods. Let's go bend the Tatula Elite AGS Cody Meyer 7.4 medium. All right, lined up on my marks here. We got Cody Meyer's 7.4 Tatula Elite AGS, the 7.4, and yeah, I will say this, it looks, at least from my angle, I know a lot of times you guys have a better view of what I'm looking at here. It looks moderate to me, more moderate over here, but it feels fast. Sure, those of you who've been watching these know what I'm talking about here, but I'm getting the backbone and getting pulled back on way up in the top portion of this rod. Even though when I get it to the backbone, it looks a little bit more moderate than it is, it's absolutely fast. It's not a joke. It is, they have it dignified. I would signify it as a fast action rod myself. What's nice about this rod is this one feels a lot more powerful than even the last rod did. It wants to pull back on me pretty fast here. So to me, this rod would shine if I want to get a hook set far away from the boat. And that, you know, I'm not running super light wire finesse, super finessey, like 5-pound test stuff and super light wire hooks. If I'm fishing something like a tube, if I'm fishing something like a shaky head or even a drop shot around grass or cover of any sort or brush piles, that kind of stuff, this rod would be awesome for that. It's got lots of power. I think if you're fishing for bigger fish, this would be a great rod. If you're looking for a versatile offshore rod to get some distance on your cast and get a hook set far away, great option here in the Cody Meyer Tatula Elite AGS rod. All right, next up, this is a new one to us here. I did get a chance to fish with a couple models, not this particular one of these rods, and they are a nice step in the right direction for the folks over there at Lews for sure. Fan of these rods, this rod series. This is the Custom Light series here. It does feature kind of like an upgraded wind grip type material. It's a softer material than traditional wind grip even. I'm not sure what they signify this as, but it's got an EVA foregrip on it, and a foregrip, like I said. It's a minimalistic foregrip, which is growing on me over time. And I think for a lot of you that are still split fingers, that are maybe doing both a little bit, this is an awesome handle for that. Kudos to the handle design. It's unique for this rod, and I do like it. This rod here is called their long range. It's a 7.6 medium extra fast. So long range indicates getting that bait out far away from the boat. This one here came in at 4.3 ounces. So it's a bit heavier than the other ones, but once again, doesn't feel like it. It really doesn't. And I have a really light reel on here. This is my personal custom light spinning reel on here, and it does not feel heavy at all with this reel on here. Now, it is a really light reel, and it is a foregrip rod, as I talked about in the previous one. So that's probably something we'll talk about more. It sticks out even more when you're talking about spinning rods that are longer than a traditional spinning rod. These are all rods that are got some length to them, and sometimes they tend to be tip heavy. This one, I can tell you right now, isn't tip heavy. Well, it's sort of looks that way a little bit here if I balance it on my thumb, but it's not at all. It actually, because the way I hold the rod, doesn't feel tip heavy one bit. But if you are a split finger, it might feel a little bit more to you, especially with this light of a reel. You can change that by upsizing your reel or putting a different reel on it. But this one here, we're gonna go bend it. It does feel really fast in hand. Once again, let's go try it on the wall. All right, here we are with that custom light by Lews, the long range rod, 7.6 medium, extra fast. And I will tell you, it does feel tippier than it looks like on there. I mean, it looks fast up there, but I will tell you, I would lean towards it being exactly what they call it. So good job, Lews. I think it's more extra fast. Obviously, if you give it some, some power, it's going to get way back there in the backbone, but I will tell you right now, you will be pulling back on that bait or putting pressure on that hook point very quickly with this rod. It's going to do it even with an inch of motion back this way. So what it would shine at is maybe shaking a bait in place. You could lightly shake your bait in place and not get fatigued and move that bait around a little bit. If you're like shaking a drop shot far away from the boat or something like that, or trying to put a little action on a bait laying on the bottom. But if you give it any sort of hard shakes, you're gonna pop that thing along and move it, because this will pull back far away, which can be a real plus if you're someone like me, that especially if we're drifting on the Great Lakes or moving around a lot, I tend to stop paying attention. And all of a sudden you feel like you got to pull, something's pulling back. And no matter where you have this rod, whether you're a high sticker, which I can be at times, and if you're holding a rod tip up or anything like that, you will get some hook penetration with this thing far away. It is soft enough power-wise that I think you can run lighter line on it. Even though I'm saying you're going to pull back right away, you're not going to overpower 6-pound tests with this. You're not. If you run a braid to a leader with 6-pound test or 8-pound test, it's soft enough to fight that fish, but you will get a hook set far away. So this one's pretty interesting. It's definitely different than the other two. It definitely would have a place, and I picture it for certain techniques with a little bit lighter line than even the other two would be. Even though it is medium power, and it is once you get way back here, I'll give them that for sure, but it's almost like a medium light or even light power tip out there. So interesting rod here from Lews. All right, next up we have the one. We had to do this one because this is the one most people ask us about a lot. This is a very popular rod in the Steez series for enthusiast rod. People that are into enthusiast rods, high-end rods, really expensive rods, this one gets talked about a lot, hence the one. Happen to know the guy that worked on this rod blank quite a bit. This is a medium light. That's the power. So that's a little strange, right, to add a couple powers in one, but that was because there was no blank when they started with the prototype process of this, that was in between a medium light and a medium, and that's what was kind of desired here. So it did come out as a medium light, but it's a fast action. AGS, this is the Steez rod. These are their Nano Plus blanks. They're absolutely beautiful to hang on to. I own one of the rods in this iteration, and it's a shorter little one, but this rod is awesome rod. The reason why they call them the one is because it is a rod that you will pick up and do a whole bunch of stuff with. It was initially designed with the intent of being a hair jig rod, but it has turned into like a do-all open water rod for lots of purposes. You could fish a whole bunch of different baits in this. If you like longer spinning rods, this is definitely, no pun intended, like the one you want to look at if you like high-end stuff. This one came in at 3.5 ounces, and I'll promise you it feels like that. It feels even lighter, and obviously this has got a fancy reel on it. That's Kip's reel here, but it feels incredible in hand. Let's go bend the Tatula, or sorry, it's not a Tatula, it is a Daiwa Steez AGS 7.6 medium light fast action, the one. All right, we're here with this rod. I'll tell you what's really weird when some of these rods, like things obviously start to feel pretty similar when you bend rod after rod after rod after rod. You start kind of almost being able to guess what a rod's going to feel like when you pick it up. This one, you can tell it's higher end. And I know like when you do this a lot, you can tell a big difference. And I know that's a common argument you see on the internet of, why would I spend that kind of money on a rod? It doesn't do anything that different. If you do fish with a whole bunch of different rods, you do tell a difference. I promise you, there is. It's a big. Same thing with a runner and shoes or whatever. Anybody who does anything a lot, you're going to find a major difference between things that most people can't tell a difference between. Picking this thing up, this thing feels like an absolute lightning rod. It feels great. Whether or not you think it's worth $500+, that's up to you. But I will tell you right now, I want one. It does feel very fast. it's getting into backbone and pulling back on me really quick out there. It wants to bend, pull back on me on just that tip section up there. The backbone seems a little further up there, but not too far up that you couldn't get away with some lighter line, even if you are a hard hook setter. Obviously, nice drags and nice spinning reels go with nice rods, so you can get away with fishing any type of line on this one you want. The impressive thing about this rod is for how light it is and how sensitive it feels, it's got that a little bit of soft, it's got that soft tip out there on the front, but I'll promise you this thing's got all the backbone you need to fish, you know, a half-ounce drop shot weight way out on a flat on the Great Lakes, or if you want to fish around some vegetation. Like I always equate it to our lakes up here, like we fish around big coontail mats and stuff that are way offshore sometimes on our lakes, and you're really worried about getting a fish in that stuff. You have plenty of power with this rod to pull back. So if you were a largemouth angler or fishing somewhere there's big largemouth present, like down in Texas or Florida or anything around grass or hard cover like timber or brush piles, I wouldn't be scared to fish around brush piles or heavy grass or anything like that with heavier line on this, like 15, 20 pound braid and a 12 pound leader or 15 pound even leader on this thing. It's not too light for that stuff. It's not. It's not probably what the rod's designed for, but when they say the one, they mean it. This thing would do just about anything great. I would throw everything from a spy bait on this thing and a hair jig all the way to throwing a heavy tube across a flat on the Great Lakes. So this is cool rod, high-end rod, obviously really light, feels really alive. It's definitely worth taking a look at if you're into enthusiast rods. Daiwa Steez AGS 7/6 the 1. All right, last one of this group, and it does feel weird to have not done one on Shimano or G. Loomis, but that's what this group was. I don't pick them, so don't blame me, but in the comments, let us know. If this one's a popular one, we certainly should do a part 2. I'm very interested in this one as we started getting rolling. This is the Evergreen Combat Stick, the 7.4 medium extra fast action. I own 2 of these rods. When that topic got brought up of what's a really great offshore longer rod that's got some backbone to it and spinning, this is the rod I think about right away. It's why I own 2 of them. I personally own 2. This isn't one of mine, but I have 2 of them at home. This is a custom light reel on here, so it's a really lightweight reel on here, and the balance point's just in front of the foregrip here. It's actually a little tip high if you look at it there because the reel's so light. I would be running in my personal rods, I'm running 4,000 size reels on it. It balances them out perfectly. This rod, I love them so much because of the fact that I do fish heavier drop shot weights far away, and I fish some bottom contact stuff around heavy vegetation on my home lake with this rod, but I also can go out smallmouth fishing wherever I want or offshore somewhere and fish light line on it. I think they're great. It's a great, versatile, longer spinning rod, and it's not too long for my little boat. So I love this 7.4. I think it's a great length. So this thing came in at, I'll have to get the weight for you, I forgot it, but I'll come tell you as soon as I get over here on the wall. But weight-wise, it feels great in hand. It really does. Balances out great, especially if you like bigger spinning reels like I do. And even with a lightweight one, as you can see, it's pretty nice. It's going to feel pretty tip light with this lighter reel on it even. So heading over to the wall, let's go bend the Evergreen Combat Stick 7.4 medium extra fast. All right, we came back here with this Evergreen Combat Stick 7.4 medium extra fast. This thing came in at 4.3 ounces. Sorry, I forgot about that in the first half. It's 4.3 ounces, so it's not a weight leader by any means, but I promise you it does not feel outrageously heavy by any means. This thing feels faster than I'm guessing it looks out there, but it doesn't feel extra fast to me. Honestly, the Lews felt more extra fast than this rod feels to me, or looks to me on here. This one feels more like a traditional fast action to me. And I really, really like this rod. As I told you, I have a lot of experience with this rod, so it's kind of weird to be bending it on the wall, and I really did picture this thing being a little faster than this. And it's just fast. It's what it is. It's a fast action rod. I like this rod, like I said, quite a bit because I do a whole bunch of stuff with it. And I think if you guys watch any of these videos know that I like versatile rods. I think this is one of the most versatile long spinning rods on the market. long being anything over 7.3 we agreed upon earlier. I like this rod a lot. I think it does a lot, and it's got way more power than it looks like probably even to you guys. I kid you not. This is a great grass fishing largemouth rod. I really, really like it for that, and obviously you can do a whole bunch of other stuff with it too, but yeah, it's not a weight leader, but it is balanced properly, in my opinion, for the types of reels I run on it anyway, and it feels great in hand, and it's got quality components on it. Really big fan of these rods. I think these fly under the radar quite a bit. But like I said, give us some comments about what rods you like in that longer rod category, and we'll definitely do a part 2 if this one's popular. It's kind of a unique one, right? Just versatile rods that are pretty long, that have some power to them. So we tried to find that, but it's not as popular as you think. It's pretty hard to find a whole bunch of rods with a lot of backbone that are over that 7.3 length. So let us know in the comments what you think, and thanks for watching.